Michael Burry is buying 5 stocks like mad. Michael Burry, the investor featured in The Big Short, is once again making headlines. Within the third quarter, Michael Burry's stock portfolio expanded from 1 company to 6 as he bought more shares of stocks in 5 different US corporations. After having nearly emptied his portfolio in June 2022, when he only possessed equities of Geo Group Inc., Burry has made some new investments. In this video, we will discuss how the famous investor, the one who accurately predicted the 2008 financial crisis, Michael Burry, is buying 5 more stocks this year. Stay with us until the end of the video to find out which companies is he investing in and how are they going to profit from him. If you're looking for a smart investor, look no further than Michael Burry. He is one of the legends of Wall Street, which means that millions of investors pay close attention to everything he says and does. His business decisions and initiatives are closely monitored by investors. In most cases, the share price rises after he buys stock in a company. The investor became well known as a stock maker after placing profitable bets on the collapse of the US housing market in 2007. After the movie The Big Short detailed his bet on the subprime mortgage meltdown that triggered the 2008 financial crisis, he became a household name. Burry has been repeating his previous dire economic predictions over the past few months. He predicts that the economy will soon enter a downturn. He claims to anticipate a home debt problem that will threaten the economy severely. Burry, who manages the Scion Asset Management hedge fund, tweeted on October 1st that 13.48% of equities had closed above their 200-day moving average. In 2009, the rate had fallen to its lowest point, 1.2%. The rate hit a low of 2.8% in 2020. We're back to 2007 levels at this point. He followed up his gloomy forecast by liquidating nearly all of his US stocks in the second quarter. Bristol Myers Squibb Company, Warner Bros. Discovery Inc., and Booking Holdings Inc. were among the equities that Burry sold off during the second quarter. Although Burry fully revamped his portfolio in the first quarter of this year, he still had 300,000 shares of Bristol Myers Squibb Company left over from the fourth quarter of 2021. However, in the second quarter, Burry sold off all of Scion Asset Management's BMY holdings. Shares in BMY increased by 24% in the first half of this year, suggesting that Burry's bet was a successful one. Burry also unloaded the 750,000 Warner Bros. Discovery Inc. shares that his fund had acquired in the previous quarter. WBD stock has been in free fall all of 2022, dropping around 55% of its value so far this year. During the second quarter, Burry also sold off 8,000 shares of Booking Holdings Inc., an online travel platform. Burry may have made a handsome profit on his BKNG stake during the first quarter of volatile trading. Nevertheless, third quarter regulatory reports show that he has restarted stock purchases. The number of US-listed firms in Scion's portfolio was 6 as of September 30th. Burry's Scion Asset Management owns stock in Aerojet Rocketdyne Holdings Inc., Charter Communications Inc., Core Civic Inc., Geo Group Inc., Liberty Latin America Limited, Curate Retail, according to a document filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission on November 14th. Here's more about the 5 new companies that Burry has added to his portfolio. Aerojet Rocketdyne, based in the United States, manufactures rocket, hypersonic, and electric propulsion systems for use in space, defense, civil, and industrial applications, while Charter Communications, based in the United States, is a telecommunications and media corporation that provides services under the Spectrum brand. Core Civic, formerly known as Corrections Corporation of America, is another company that owns and manages private prisons and detention centers, as well as operates others on a concession basis, in a manner not dissimilar to that of Geo Group. Liberty Latin America is a major telecommunications provider with operations in over 20 Latin American and Caribbean countries under the Flow consumer brand. And Curate Retail Group is an American media conglomerate controlled by company chairman John C. Malone, who holds a majority of the company's voting shares. The firm's 13F equity portfolio is worth $41 million as of September, and it has 6 holdings, with a quarterly turnover ratio of 91%. Real estate, consumer cyclical, industrials, and communication services make up 53.17%, 24.34%, and 12.84%, and 9.67% respectively of the equity portfolio's total weight. Here are some details about the stocks that Burry bought. The Geo Group. During the second quarter, Scion bought 501,360 shares of the Geo Group. During the third quarter, it bought an additional 1,517,790 shares, increasing its stake by 302.73%, and its equity portfolio by 28.30%. During the third quarter, the average price of a share of the GEO Group was $7.38. Qurate Retail. The company bought 5 million shares of Qurate Retail, giving the stock a 24.34% equity portfolio weight. The average price of a share of stock during the third quarter was $2.90. CoreCivic was the target of an investment by Scion, which resulted in the company allocating 15.52% of its equity portfolio to the position. During the third quarter, the price of a share of CoreCivic was on average $10.10. Aerojet Rocketdyne Holdings. A total of 132,561 shares of Aerojet Rocketdyne Holdings were purchased by Scion, which provided the position with an equity portfolio weight of 12.84%. During the third quarter, the price per share averaged $42.31. Charter Communications. The company invested in Charter Communications by purchasing 10,000 shares, which resulted in a position with an equity portfolio weight of 7.35%. During the third quarter, the price per share averaged 427.79%. Liberty Latin America. The company made an investment in Liberty Latin America, purchasing 155,761 shares and giving the position a weight of 2.32% of the equity portfolio. During the third quarter, the average price of a share was $7.08. Burry has released a cryptic message a few days after disclosing these new bets, which seems to imply that he has also bet heavily on the collapse of a company's stock, the fall of an industry, or the demise of an asset class. "You have no idea how short I am," Burry posted on Twitter on November 15th. The tweet, like many others he's made, was removed shortly after it was made. Burry does not disclose any information on his status. His social media followers are left to wonder what he's up to. They began a game of guessing that centered on the names of several technological organizations. During the second quarter, Burry sold all of the shares of Alphabet and Meta platforms he owned. There's no doubt that Burry has stirred up the debate once again, since many are confused as to whether or not he is actually referring to a bet or his own height. The investor is rumored to be 5 feet and 6 inches tall. Little before the end of September, the investor made headlines when he quadrupled his holding in GEO Group, which invests in private jails and mental health facilities, to just over 2 million shares for $15.5 million. The head of Scion Asset Management has accumulated a $10 million holding in Qurate Retail, in addition to lesser positions in Aerojet Rocketdyne, Charter Communications, CoreCivic, and Liberty Latin America. In total, Burry's holdings in U.S. stocks increased from $3.3 million at the end of June to $41.3 million now. Nonetheless, it is still a small percentage of its size at the end of March, when it held 11 stocks for a total of $165 million, not counting the negative put options that Scion held against 206,000 Apple shares. After sounding the alarm on the biggest speculative bubble of all time in all things last summer, and telling owners of meme stocks and cryptocurrencies they are careening toward the mother of all crashes, Burry sold all of his holdings except GEO Group in the second quarter of this year. The billion-dollar bet the Scion CEO made against the housing bubble in the mid-2000s was made famous in the book and film The Big Short. Not only did he invest in GameStop before it surged in January 2021 and sparked the meme stock craze, but he is also notorious for betting against Elon Musk's Tesla and Cathie Wood's ARK Innovation Fund last year. This was all about Michael Burry buying 5 stocks like mad. Hope you enjoyed the video. Do you think it is a wise decision by Michael Burry to buy 5 stocks all of a sudden in the third quarter? Keep the comment box ticking with your opinions. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.